The biggest complaint I hear whenever I mention Muzmatch to people is that guys on there are really creepy.
Yeah.
To what extent is this like a problem with the guys versus a problem with the dating industry versus a problem with the app itself? Like,
what's the deal? I think I'm still trying to figure out where does the problem lie.
Yeah.
Is it us? Is it the community? Is it guys? So I think my conclusion is guys are idiots.
Okay.
I think from everything I've seen, and if you look at, forget Muzmatch, if you just look at the general, call it dating apps, mainstream dating apps, read between the lines, their biggest problem is the behavior of men, mostly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what was the premise of Bumble? It was...
Yeah, women...
Not that it was
initiate.
anti-men,
Yeah.
but really it was not happy with the male dynamic, the way men behave, the way men treat women, talk to women, etc., etc. And their whole branding was all around the female perspective, right? And it's a great branding talking point, right? And that's for them what sets it apart. If you look at the app itself, I would argue it's actually not massively different to other apps, in all honesty. My research showed me that, but but yeah, it's not massively different in all honesty. But obviously, that's their USP to some degree. Whether and I presume, and I'm reading between, maybe men hate that feature that women have to go first. I don't know.
I mean, I quite like it. It means the onus is not on me to start the
so
discussion.
It's interesting, right? So we actually built Women Goes First in Muzmatch in 2016, I think it was.
Okay.
For about a week.
Okay.
And Muslim women, so we built it.
Yeah.
And Muslim women were like, I don't want to go first.
Yeah.
Why do I have to message the guy? He should message me. And we were like, this community is not ready for it. So we got rid of it after a week.
Interesting.
Yeah. So we tried it, failed it. And there was another app out there for the Muslim market that tried to do it. I think it's a bit dead now, but they tried it. And because some things work. So here's some things work great in principle, but not in reality. A good example, I was today just reading about another app, mainstream app, which was saying, the death of swiping and all this kind of stuff. And they had either a feature or as an essential part of their app was that the more you talk to someone, the more their face unblurs. And we were mentioned in this article because we allow men and women to blur their photos if they want and control who can see it. Anyway, so that was their principle. So the principle is great, you're committed, you start talking to someone, and obviously the more interest you show in them, the more you talk, the more effort you put in, the more rewarding that you'll see who they are. That's a good filtering mechanism, surely. Yeah. Now the problem is great in principle. The reality is, within reason, we are time poor, right? The reality is, if you're single and wanting to meet people, let's say you go down this road of talking to people without knowing what they're about, and you can't deny that attraction. It's important, of course it is. It's in our DNA, right? It's in our basic human instincts of we're attracted to people. And attraction is a valid reason of why people get together, right? So to deny that, I think is just isn't sensible. I think personally. So anyway, so let's say you went down this road and you were talking to 5 people in a row, and you invested this time in talking to them, and then each one you're like, not my cup of tea. That was a waste of time. Probably after a couple of hours, you're like, this is just not working for me. Yeah. The converse could be the effect whether you speak to 5 people and they're all amazing and you're attracted to one. Great, right? Yeah. Maybe you're not fussy, but whatever. So I just think sometimes some things work great in principle and not in reality. I forgot why I was even talking about this. But anyway, to go back to your earlier point. So I think genuinely there is a problem with how men particularly, the approach they have online, in how they talk to people. I think there's a certain ease in how you can talk to someone. Yeah. And because of the ease to start a conversation, the ease in how you can end that conversation. Or choose not to end it, i.e. ghost. Right? Okay, yeah. And I think this is just a modern phenomenon now. Yeah. Of just now it's easier than ever to build a connection with someone, be it on Facebook and all these social networks, whatever. A random person that you've never ever met, you can message them and have a conversation, and then no one feels like they owe each other anything if that doesn't carry on.
There's no social cost to just ignoring them.
Exactly, right? And it's the same here. And I think so I think while we're at this juncture where this is relatively new, that's why it's difficult to deal with. So I think part of that, no doubt there's a role of platforms like ours to encourage good behaviour and deter bad behaviour. And I think one thing Muzmatch has always tried to be about, we're trying to bring out the good, get rid of the bad. So things like, we were the first app to automatically censor bad language. So if you swear at someone on the app, it's automatically censored. Which other apps didn't have, which baffled me. We were the first app, on a religious perspective, to allow you to have a chaperone in. Which is novel. No one else was doing that, right? Yeah. Exactly, right? No one was doing it. And I remember thinking about it at the time, thinking, this is a no-brainer. Like, why have we not got this? I built it and whatever. We were the first app on the security side to have selfie verification, right? We were actually the first app, I believe, to have an oath that you agree to before you use it. So when you sign up to Muzmatch, it will literally, there was a screen that would come up before you chat to anyone that would say Bismillah, which means in the name of God, and it would say basically, I promise to use the app properly, and if I don't, I'll be blocked and banned. And you have to accept it to continue. Now, of course, maybe 90% of people don't even read it and just go whatever, right, next. But just by having that sets the tone of what isn't acceptable on this platform. And it's interesting to see other apps begin to introduce some form of oath, some agreement that you as a user agree to, which I found interesting. And one thing by having that, and equally we have, when you match with someone, we do something really simple and trivial, which is at the start of the chat, we just say, keep it halal.
Yeah.
And we'll have a funny line like, God is always watching.
Yeah.
Or keep it halal, like our team see what you're up to. Whatever, right? We have it. And of course, most people probably ignore it. But for me, it was important that was always there because I wanted to make sure that we set the tone.
Yeah.
Our job is setting the tone. And the flip side of that equally is if something bad does happen, do we turn a blind eye to it or do we take action? And for us, we firmly take action.